Germany, as the G7 presidency, has achieved quite a lot. The commitment of the group towards global food and nutrition security. Now, this initiative builds on former initiatives in this area, but in a much more comprehensive way than before. Stefan, where would you say is the added value of the G7 initiative now?
The G7 agreed to aim to lift 500 million people out of hunger and malnutrition by 2030. And the group agreed to cooperate with partners to mobilize the resources necessary. That decision reflects a paradigm shift, a shift from input orientation to impact orientation. It is no longer a money pledge. We put people center stage and aim at lifting people out of hunger and malnutrition.
The annex to the G7 declaration mentions a whole number of different important areas for possible interventions. Where would you say lies the highest priority for the G7?
Most important is the broader scope of interventions. The key message behind that is productivity growth and private sector development is important, but that alone is not enough. We have to put that in the framework of rural development in a broader sense. But at the same time, we have to take a look at the responsibility of all investments and the sustainability of all production. We also have to address nutrition, the quality of food, the utilization of food. And last but not least, we have to address food security and nutrition in times of conflict and crisis. That means we have to strengthen resilience.
If this broader scope is so important, why has the G7 not been dealing with this before?
Over the last years, there was a strong focus on private sector development and on productivity growth. That was quite right at that time, but now we are able to make an additional step. And it was that year in 2015 ideal to really take that next step, because this year is a very important year for development in general. We have a lot of decisions to take at international level, and we wanted to send a clear signal as a G7 here that we are willing to take responsibility to address all these issues.
Maybe you can go into that a little bit and tell us, how are the G7 commitments related to specific SDGs?
Well, we did not want to preempt SDG discussions. SDG 2, which addresses hunger and malnutrition, is absolutely key. It has strategic importance. People need to be well fed before they are able to lead a self-determined productive life. A child has to be well nourished before it is able to develop fully its capabilities to learn. And more other examples I could give to simply make clear that fighting hunger and malnutrition is a prerequisite to achieve other goals. At the same time, we are very clear about that, and the annex is very clear about that. Other development goals need to be addressed to support the achievement of SDG 2 as well.
Do you see a more pointed role for the Global Donor Platform for Rural Development in the future?
I see that pointed role definitely. Now, rural development really is on the agenda. And we as a G7 started that initiative, and now we would like to invite partner countries, civil society, private sector, and of course other donors to deepen dialogue with us on how we really can join forces to reach that important goal. And the Global Donor Platform here can serve as an ideal platform to facilitate that broadened discussion we need.
Thank you very much.